Hello and welcome to your very first guitar lesson. My name is Mark Payne and I've been playing guitar now for over 30 years. So I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you will be able to play your very first tune. Now before we get into the tune, what we want to do is to make sure that our guitars are in tune. Now I've already tuned my guitar, so I'm going to run through every note so you can tune your guitar to my guitar. Now we're going to do this because depending on what device you're listening to could depend on the kind of pitch that you're getting, because sometimes pitch will differ depending on what device you're listening on. Now a little tip when you are tuning your guitar is that if you find that note is already too high or too sharp as we call it, what you want to do is loosen off the string so it's lower than you want it. Give it a little tug, because what will happen is when you actually start loosening off the tension to the string, it will begin to relax, and it takes a little bit of time sometimes for the string to settle. So just by giving it a little tug can help it stretch out and stay true for when you want to tune it to the pitch that you wish. Now we're going to be using the standard tuning here, and the notes for that are E, A, D, G, B and E. Now there's an easy way to remember this. It's every Alsatian dog grows big is. So, starting from the top, we're going to tune E. Now A. D. G. B. And finally, E. Now our guitar's in tune, we're going to take a look at the fretboard. Now this is obviously where the frets live. Now you'll see that each one has a wire that goes across here. Now when we actually place our fingers and we want to fret something, we don't want to place our fingers directly on top of this wire. We want to fret it in between the wires. So think of these more as boxes. This is where we're going to be placing our fingers. Now the way you want to hold a string down is by using the very tip of your finger. Now sometimes if your nails are a little bit overgrown, that can interfere with actually fretting the strings. Now that doesn't go for everybody, because if you take a look at Dolly Parton's nails, you can see that she manages to handle things perfectly fine. But it does help if you do have your nails trimmed down, and then you can access the strings better without your nails actually touching the fretboard and preventing you from holding them down. We also don't want to be using the very fleshy part here of our fingers, we do want to make sure that it's right on the very tip. Now this might become uncomfortable at first when you start playing, but eventually with a little bit of practice they will toughen up and your fingers will get used to it. So starting on our first tune today, we're going to be working around the chord of D. Now this isn't the easiest chord that we can play, but it certainly isn't the hardest either. It's just a good middle ground for us to start on. Now we're going to be doing this in the style of finger picking. Now it's a good rule of thumb to allocate each finger and your thumb to a string on the guitar. Now the trouble is when finger picking is that we have 6 strings and we only have 4 fingers and 1 thumb. So what we're going to do today is, even though we're going to only be plucking 4 strings, we're going to only be using 3 fingers, our thumb, our index finger and our second finger. Now to do the D chord, we're going to take our index finger, we're going to place it on the G string on the 2nd fret. With our second finger, we're also going to place that on the 2nd fret, but this time on the high E, that's the very bottom string. And with our third finger, we're going to place that on the B string, or 2nd from the bottom, and we're going to place that on the 3rd fret. Now, with our free hand, starting from the D string, that's the one above the strings that we fretted, we're going to play down once, plucking every string, and then up once. And we're going to do that 4 times, like this. Now the way I'm doing that is I'm going thumb, thumb, index, 2nd, index, index, thumb. Keeping our fingers where they are, we're going to take our pinky and we're going to place that on the E string, that's the bottom string, and we're going to put that underneath our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, like this. And we're going to do the same picking pattern. Now, we're going to take our pinky off. Now we're going to remove our pinky, but this time we're going to remove our 2nd finger as well. So now we're actually going to be plucking the E string, or the bottom string, completely open, but still holding down the other 2 strings. And now we're going to remove our index finger, still keeping our 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret on the B string. This time we're going to place our 2nd finger back down on the E string on the 2nd fret. So we're leaving our index finger and our pinky off. We're going to play that. We're going to place our pinky down, still leaving our index finger off, and play that. place our index finger down. And finally, we're going to remove our pinky. Now we know the basic structure of the song. This is what it sounds like when we put it all together. And there you have it, your very first tune. A nice simple song there to start off for your very first guitar lesson. Now I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you join me next time where we'll be going through some different chords and chord changes. But just remember, guitar playing does not come overnight. Practice makes perfect, as they say. And I'm pretty sure that if this is the very first time that you're playing the guitar, that your fingers have already started to hurt. Now don't worry, because eventually your fingers will get used to it and they'll toughen up, and it won't hurt so much when you begin to play. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I will see you later.